All right. Welcome back to the Pretty Huge Dilemma podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Barrett. This is episode 6, I think. This is the first episode where I do have a microphone. It's off screen, but it's right there in front of me, and hopefully that improves the sound quality. Thank you to my brother that got it for me as a gift. He's been watching a couple of these episodes, and I've talked about getting the mic, and he gave it to me. I don't know how I picked out the one, but hopefully it works. And if this isn't recorded properly, I'm going to blame him. This is the first episode that I didn't record in a batch all at once. Like I said before, I recorded a bunch of them, stacked them up, and was kind of contemplating what to do, when to release them. I released them after the new year, so that way, in case something happened, everything is happening in 2025. So this is the first one where it's new, not as stored up in a bank as much. But I don't think that makes too much of a difference. There are some advantages to having them stored up. Having them stored up, I was able to just relax, focus on the editing of it, not stressed about I have to record this week, I have to get to it, I can't go out and do things, I have to record. So it's nice. One of the disadvantages is I can't bring up things that happened previously because kind of everyone else has talked this topic to death. I can't get in on it. I can't get my slice of the pie from that. Like if I went and talked about the inauguration right now, this podcast won't be released till the middle of February. I can't talk about, oh, why are there so many things happening in inauguration? I did not know those happened until this year. What are all the people doing with these swords? Cake, I mean, obviously it's cool having those swords and cutting cake. Like, who wouldn't like that? But if I went to the inauguration right now, it's a little past that time. Also, this is closer, but if I started talking about the Grammys, I had some live tuning for it. Was I don't know if I was forced to watch with my wife. I had to put in the time so that this week when the Super Bowl comes up, I can't have her say, "Oh, you get the TV every weekend. I never get to watch my shows." So I put in that time. It's like I'll watch the Grammys, put out some tweets from it, see if that gets more interactions than my usual tweets do. And they did. I don't know. I think it's just putting that hashtag on there, which I probably should do more often, get creative with putting those. But if I went and started talking about the Grammys, everyone would think, oh, that's kind of old. And also, I'm not really that interested in the Grammys. Some of the performances were cool. Sabrina Carpenter, like I said, great. Of no surprise. She won. Country music won. It would have been nice to see Lainey Wilson win. She's definitely has more country music songs. I understand Beyonce winning it. She performed at multiple halftime shows, so people obviously liked her performance on her country art album. Other things happening. Oh, I got one of my childhood video games. Not really childhood, it's more of teenagehood. I got Star Wars Battlefront 2. Slightly addicted to playing that. I don't know, just an older game. I realized I wasn't as good as I was. That's part of it. Also, the other part of it is I was playing on the easier difficulty when I was a kid, and now I'm like, oh, I'm an adult. I can play a video game at its hardest level and won't have an issue. That's not the case. But so I've been trying to just do that only on the weekends. 'Cause if I did it during the week, I would get a lot less stuff done. Um, Other things, oh, have an ice cream cake in the freezer. My perspective about life changes so much with having an ice cream cake, or is like desserts in general in the freezer, or is like stored up in the pantry. So you think, oh, this is so difficult. Work is being so hard. My boss, he keeps telling me about all this work. Oh, my wife's getting on my back. I got all this stuff to do. I gotta exercise. But then he's come home at the end of the day. You turn on some Netflix, get a big thing of ice cream cake, and man, everything, all the worries just go away. So that's been changing my perspective for this last week. I think it's near the end of it, but man, it's been some week just having that in the back of my head. No matter what difficult things are, I can deal with this difficult times. I know I got ice cream cake in the back of my head. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. So with the other episodes that I released, my wife, I don't think she's listened to a full podcast, which That's fine. She doesn't listen to podcasts on her own generally. She's done it a couple times for her work, but she doesn't listen to them for entertainment and stuff like that. So I don't expect her to watch mine, but I did tell her like you're zero views to me. You're out. Your opinion doesn't matter as much. And once you start getting views and comments, then I'll start listening to the input that you have. But she said, from what she heard, she said it was good, and that's I don't know if that's the best response I ha want from her. Because like I said, she doesn't follow podcasts. She doesn't know what I don't want to say what good podcasts are, but she doesn't know like how fully about how podcasting works. So she said it was good. Like, man, I really need to change something. I need to make it where you're having hesitancy with me putting it out, and you're saying, well, maybe you should reconsider this. Maybe you shouldn't say this stuff. So I might need to make some changes there. One other, I don't even know if it was a suggestion, but her thought was, well, maybe some of this could use a woman's touch. So we'll see if I get any uh, input like that. That changes things. Maybe make my Instagram better. Maybe take pictures of things. Maybe be more up to date on the trends that are happening on social media. Maybe that's it. But I don't know if that's one of the things. That also just might be, oh, I'm not doing this full time and I got other work going on. So that was other feedback we had. Oh, we're having, so this will come out. Today's the 7th. Oh, we passed Valentine's Day. Not doing anything for Valentine's Day. I'm not a big fan of Valentine's Day. Like I said, some holidays bigger than others. Valentine's Day, I don't think that's a holiday. It's they're just made up to buy things that go away, like flowers. Wasteful of those. Go away so fast, especially if you don't water them correctly or forget about them. So I don't like doing that. Everyone's just so busy. It's like one day, oh, February 14th, everyone has to go out, everyone has to do these things. I think for the past couple of years, we've gone out like the week after, and guess what? The food's the same. It's not that much of a difference. Some places have specials like, oh, Valentine's Day special, get this dessert with two entrees. No, thank you. It's too busy. Expectations are too high. Oh, everything has to go perfectly. If it doesn't, then it's a waste. Can't do all this stuff. So I don't like doing that. She said, I'm gonna have to ask my wife to be my Valentine. I guess I'll have to get some card, some Hallmark card from Target or something. It says, will you be my Valentine? Cards. Man, I might just be bad at receiving gifts. I don't like getting flowers, getting cards for people. I don't really save cards that people send me. I read them. It's like, oh, thanks. Some even if they write a personal message, you're like, oh, thanks for the thought. Trash. Don't keep it. It's a card. I'd rather just get the money that you spent on that card and just pocket that instead. I might have to go get a card for that, which might be a waste. Maybe I'll just write it on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, mail it in the mailbox. That would be pretty noticeable because we don't get too much mail. I don't know what important things are sent through the mail anymore. I think of mail. So people, let's see here. Let's put this thought together here. People some people before emails be like, oh, everything you get in email is a scam, can't click on any of that, all that's happening. If I get anything in the mail, I just assume that's a scam. Because if someone needs to get me in contact me with a timely manner, they're not sending me anything through mail. Pretty much stuff through mail, I already have an electronic copy of it, so that's why I already sending this through the mail as well. So that's so if I sent her an card through the mail, then we would see what's happening for it. But we are getting ready. I don't know, ready. It's happening in the Super Bowl. What kind of, we're not really having a party. It's just gonna be the two of us. We'll see. We're gonna try to cook some more stuff. We're gonna try to cook a pulled pork. Never done that before. I don't think it'll be that difficult. We should probably have to Google it, but haven't done that before. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Try to make like a three-course meal, get things going. We got the pregame, then we got foods during the first half, halftime meal, then the second half. I don't know, it depends if the game's close, if we'll pay attention to it. But we'll try to get that going on. We're also trying to move from a apartment to a house. So there's a lot we've been trying to go through for that. We got to figure out how to get a lender, got to figure out all the information we have with that. We got to show them our bank statements, all of that. Man, it's too much. Having all these people in my information, they're like, oh, hey, here's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think, are you really sure you want to do that? Just because I show you a couple documents, you're okay with it? So that's been not too much of a headache. It's been not easy either. But it's getting all these documents together, getting all these people together, getting a lender. We signed with a realtor, which I don't know. We haven't been too serious about it. So we've been, I don't know, just kind of going through the motions, trying to get like areas, trying to get houses we like. There are some houses, they look so old. Some of them were built like in the 1960s, which how many years ago was that? 65 years ago? Like, man, these are so old. 1970s houses. Man, I get that you did some renovations, but there has to be something. The pipes in here, the walls, something's not looking good in here. So one of the thoughts I had was, at what point will someone just tear a house down? Like, how old does a house have to be for them to say, yeah, we just gotta get rid of this. We can't renovate anymore. We can't make any more changes. We have to rip it down and do all of that. I don't know how old that is, but I thought walking through a 1970s house, like, yeah, you do all these renovations. Like, it still feels old. There are still changes that could be made to it. So, our thoughts, probably gonna try to get something modern. Might do a townhome. That's easier transition because we don't want to do the yard work. Even if we got a yard, we might just hire someone to do that. Either hire someone or just fill the backyard with concrete or a pool. I don't think we would put in a pool because pools, those are not my favorite to maintain and take care of. But a townhome, that's kind of an easier transition. I don't know if that lighting is good. Oh well, once that face just lit up, going Harvey Dent, Two-Face. Townhome, because it's a closer community, kind of like apartment complex. We don't really talk to people in here because it's so temporary. But maybe in a townhome, it's more permanent. So reach out because yeah, here there's an issue. You can talk to the office and have them help with you with your apartment. But in a townhome, it might be more helpful to know your neighbors because they also know like the people. It's not just maintenance people who come. You have to know plumber, electrician, whatever else goes into a house. So you have to know them. So having a townhome, there's some like modern looking ones, which kind of look like our apartment. So I think that's what we're going to try to look for. It hasn't been too bad. We've gone to some open houses. Some people know how to make a house look better than others. Some of them there's I don't know, which still wasn't like cleaned up. There's a bunch of like stuff in the yard and it wasn't fully cleaned up. There's one house, it was pretty cleaned up, it looked good. They had just candles everywhere, letting into those. I don't know what those chemicals are, but I don't know, recently found out. But yeah, those smelly candles, evidently they're terrible for you. I don't know what obviously they put something artificial in them, but I guess there's something in them. I haven't found that out what it is, but man, sometimes you need the artificial smells going on because again, my wife, well, not again, my wife, she complained about a smell that was coming from the bathroom area, which that's where I put my smelly shoes, my workout stuff. She said, oh, this smells so bad, it's making everything in the house smell. For that kind of smell, I don't know if the organic, all natural stuff will take care of it. For stuff like that, I think you need the heavy duty stuff that'll burn fingertips off to get rid of that smell. So sometimes those artificial things are good. Those houses, when they had those smells, like, man, this smells good. Looks like a good house. But then you see things that they have pets around, like there's a dog feeding machine, a cat door. And my first thought went to, well, they're trying to cover something up. They're trying to make this house not smell like it does when they don't have the candles on. Another part of that house, my first thought was, well, if there are any carpets, those are getting ripped out, no matter how new they put in. Because carpets, yeah, if you spill something on them, so your dog goes to the bathroom on them, yeah, you can put, those chemicals on them, clean them out. But I think I just want new ones in there. So that would fix that. So the house search, we'll see how that goes. Try to save up more money for it, but it would be I don't know, nice to have a house, someplace I can call my own, put my roots down, but then I might also feel stuck. Because having apartments, it's I live here for a year, live here for 2 years. Okay, I can leave. I don't have to clean it fully. If things get dirty, okay, I'm not that concerned about it. I'll be out in a little bit. But the house, you don't have that. It's like you're here, you have to be here for a longer period of time. So I'll try to keep you guys updated on that. It's just seeing how that goes, the process of it. Like I said, it hasn't been too difficult. Some open houses, driving around neighborhoods. But I imagine when we get closer to wanting a house, which I don't know what will make us say, okay, now we're buying a house now. It could be our apartment lease ending, but that's not close. It could, I don't think it'll be house interest rates. That's not what it's going to be. And the house prices, I don't know how much they'll go up or down in the next year. Like I said, it could go any way, but for now, we'll see. We're in the apartment searching for a house and we're making decisions like, oh, we want to upgrade this, we want to get new this. Well, we're just going to get a house. So let's just stick it out. Let's not get new bar stools. Let's not get new TVs. Which that's one thing that could fix our problem is getting more TVs in our living room. Instead of me having watched the Grammys, we have two things on, which we have two TVs, but one of them's cooked up to the Xbox, so I'd have the Xbox on, play that while watching the Grammys. So I think we just need to add another TV. I think two TVs, that's nice, but I think three TVs. Why wouldn't three TVs be better? But we might have to hang one on the wall. I haven't put a TV on a wall before. We got pictures on the wall, but those you just put a nail in the wall anywhere and just cover it up. But hanging a TV, then in the middle of the night just crashes down, breaks. That would not be good. That would scare me so much. Then it would break. Other things would break that are below it, but it would solve the issue of being forced to watch things. We'll see. But I don't know. Grammys was fine. I watched it for a couple hours, then I just had some ice cream cake and watched Suits, which almost done with that season. Probably been watching it too quickly, but it's been fine. Got that going on. Recently, we went and saw the Shane Gillis show. That was hilarious. All the different acts that came up. One with my wife and a couple of my friends. My wife thought, well, I'll get to that later. But he has the opening act, James McCann. James McCann might be my favorite Australian. I don't know too many of them, but he might be my favorite. It was hilarious. They were in the round at American Airlines. So that was a different experience. I never saw someone perform the round before, which kind of interesting because when you go to a theaters or if they just have the stage, yeah, you always see their front. But then being around, you see them walking those circles around the stage, doing stuff like that. So it was funny to see him. He has obviously a very different perspective being from Australia. So he made a lot of jokes about that. Be like, oh, America, crazy. So many things are different. That was really cool to see, really funny. And Tony was there because Tony was in town for other stuff that was happening. He came in. He was really funny too. Some of the difference between him was I don't know if he tries to get groans. Maybe getting the crowd to groan is more difficult than getting them to laugh. So that might be what he was going for because yeah, there were definitely times where he was getting groans and he was just taking it in, which that happens sometimes. But that also might just be the crowd not being good comedy fans and not knowing what the joke is, which that's happened to me with me before. Because there's one guy that Tony brings on to kill Tony, Brian Holtzman as his closer sometimes, which there are times when he goes on there where when I don't fully get the joke, and again, I'm probably on me of not understanding what's going on because I saw him in person too, and yeah, the room was pretty split on not 100% knowing what was going on. So, and he was trying to get groans from some of it. It was like, yeah, this is all joking stuff. So I understood that. But it was cool seeing Tony in person, seeing, man, that is what he looks like. He is a real person, not just someone on my TV. Which I had that realization when I first saw um, comedy shows more in person. It's like, wow, these are real people. Because with athletes, you don't see them in person very often. unless you're just like right around like where they would live or the stadiums. Like you're not really seeing them out and about. They're just on TV. It was cool to see them in person, Shane going on. My wife goes, "Wow, he's just a regular guy. He's just one of the boys." Because she sees him on TV doing all this funny stuff, seeing his Netflix shows. Then she sees him in person. She's like, if you saw him in a crowd, he's just a regular looking guy, but he's just hilarious. Yeah. Went to Dallas. Had to go to Dallas for that. It was, I don't know, going to Dallas is not the most fun. Not much happening there. They pretty much just made this giant city with all these skyscraper buildings, but there's not too much going on. They've got restaurants, they got like theaters and like places to have events, but there's unless you're like going on a specific day to see that, there's nothing that you would say, "Oh, let's go to Dallas and just hang out there at this place." Because there's not really like a tourist place to go. You can go where JFK got shot, which those files are coming out soon. Maybe I'll have to record a fresh podcast after that, after reading all those files. Because I'm sure that'll give us so much insight into what happened. My thought on that, someone asked me if I was interested. I wasn't still not too much interested in that because, okay, they released the files. You think the president's going to release files that says, oh, the CIA did this. Don't trust any of your government places. If he does like, oh, he buried in there something else happening, because that would be pretty destructive to the government unless he's trying to do that, which I don't know, there's a possibility of that. But I don't know, not too interested. I don't think too much. What could they say in there that would make everyone go, "Oh, I knew it. I knew this was happening." If it was, I think that would come out a long time ago. Yeah, Dallas, I don't know. It's not the most fun place to go. It's expensive. They got, yeah, like I said, they got restaurants. But if someone comes to visit me, like, oh, let's go to Dallas, like, there's not much happening there. Fort Worth, and there's Fort Worth Stockyards. Those are pretty fun to go to for a little bit, like walk around, see all the stuff they got there, see the cow walk. But besides that, there's not much happening there either. They kind of just like made this huge metroplex with all this stuff, but nothing like, oh, you go see this. Like there are events happening all around, but there's no like, oh, this is here all the time, every day, go do that. Okay, and that brings to one of the thoughts I had, which I got while on my Sunday walks on Sundays. That's when I try to do my longer weight vest walks, try to get some ideas going, don't have any podcasts going, just think, take notes on my phone, and that's where I come up with some ideas to talk about. Obviously, some of them are better than others. On those weight vest walks, I was stopped one time. Yeah, there was one time I was stopped by a cop. I was walking past along past this school, which, yeah, I don't remember what school it was. But I was walking past the school, and usually on walks, I would just go down and back because when I was running as a younger kid, the coach said, well, the best way to do a run, just run out, run back. Because then you don't really have an option. If you zigzag all around, you could turn around, you could say, oh, I'm not feeling good, let me turn around here. But if you go run out to a spot, you don't have any option. You have to run back. So that's what I did with my walks. So I was walking on the way out, walked past the school area, which there were some people there doing stuff on the nearby football field. And as I was walking back, I see a cop going down the other side. I was like, okay, good, safe area. Cop's going by. Then the cop pulls a U-turn. I was like, well, that's not good because I just walked past that direction. And the cop stops me and he stays in his car. He just rolls down his window. He goes, hey, is that a weight vest? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I got a call that someone's walking around with a tactical vest. I'm like, nope, not here. Just weight vest. Just trying to make it a little more difficult out here for a walk because weight vest walks are not too difficult. They're not too strenuous. Definitely get my heart rate up, but it's not like running where it's like there are a bunch of injuries involved with it. It's like it's just kind of walking for it. So stopped by a cop once, haven't been since, but wasn't too surprised by that because yeah, I was just wearing a black vest with some extra area around it. But yeah, that's where I try to get my some of my ideas going from. One idea I had, which kind of connects to the Dallas and Fort Worth setup, is how does city planning happening? How, which I don't know how much new this is going on, but how someone go into an area and say, okay, this here, map, this is how we're going to lay out this area. We're going to put streets here. We're going to have them go straight down, straight across. Then we're going to have this big street that goes diagonally, cuts through all of it. How do they decide? I mean, there are some areas where, oh, there's this big reservoir, big lake, and think, oh, can't go through there. We have to build around that. But how do they decide, oh, stores are going to go here. We're going to build houses in this area. How do we come up with all these names? There's so many names that you think, oh yeah, obviously that's a name. That makes sense. Think, oh, a street named a street named Tulip. Oh, obviously that's a street name. That makes sense. They think, why would someone come up with that? You name streets after people, but how they decide all these names? When do you decide to make it an avenue? When do you decide to make it a street? A court, okay, that's when it hits a dead end. When is it a drive? When is it a parkway? I don't know. Obviously it's because I don't know much what's going on, but that sounds like it takes so much creativity to come up with all of that. I think, oh, we're gonna put an interstate here going through the city. Oh, we're gonna make a freeway. Oh, we're gonna have a stoplight here. We're gonna have a roundabout here. We're gonna have a stop sign. This doesn't need to be a stop sign. Let's make it a yield sign. How do you decide what's going on with that? That was, I don't know, just a thought I had of how city layouts and all these names, all these street directions. How do you decide, let's make this one a one way. Okay, make this one a one way going the other way. I see you think, okay, there are going to be a lot of people around here. The street needs to be wider. You need more lanes happening here. But that's only happening because you laid out the city that way. Couldn't it be a different way and be just as fine with it? If you say, oh, instead of all the people going here, we're gonna make them go to this other area. How does that work for it? Um, I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Like how in the even if it's a small town versus like a big town, how do you lay out Dallas and say, oh, all the big skyscrapers, those are going here? Is it just a developer bought it, got the approval, and they did it themselves, and all the city planner has to do is like build out a general area? That doesn't seem too easy to do. How is lay out a map in all these big cities? All Pretty much any city I go to, I think, man, how do you just plan this out? How do you get all these things going together and make it not a complete disaster? Which there are some cities, they're not laid out the best. Be which I don't know. I've heard Houston's not laid out the best. They're weird with how they do their planning. But even then, it's like, how do you like, plan to do things and stick to it? That was an idea I had. The other, and again, going off of that, how are zip codes decided? Who came up with the idea of zip codes? Why? Yeah, there's zip codes. Yeah, there are states, cities, zip codes was like, why do you need zip code? Because zip codes can go across cities. I don't know how those came up. How do you come up with just which five numbers? Yeah, there are so many possibilities with that. How do you decide which one goes with which? Oh, this city area was discovered and settled a couple of years earlier than this place. So we're going to set a zip code here. This zip code will be 12345. Okay, this one on the other side of the country is going to be 12345 6. Or no, 12346. Yeah, because that has to be the same amount of numbers. I don't know how they decide that. It's kind of like some people sat around one day and said, okay, we're going to go and do this. This will be helpful in the future. This isn't going to be confusing or a pain. Why do I need a zip code and a city? Can't you just have the city? But I don't know, having multiple of that. Then how do you make area codes on a phone? I mean, that's just three numbers, so that's a lot less. So that I don't know holds more like people to like three-digit numbers, but even with three, it's like what is that? 1,000 options, 10 times 10 times 10. Yeah, that's how statistics work. Um, about an area, how do you decide this area code gets which? I don't know. You obviously don't see all the area codes, but like this place has one. I don't even know. Have I seen an area code that starts with a one? And there probably is. How does an area code go 143? This area code 341. How do you decide that? And who decided that? Are these the same people? Are the same people who made the zip code, the same people who made the area code? Did Alexander Graham Bell go, oh, there are going to be so many phone numbers out there. We have to have all these area codes that you know where they're calling from. That was, I don't know how people do that. And how long it's been around? I don't know how long zip code's been around, but I assume they've been around for a long period of time. I don't know. Would it be, yeah, zip codes? I don't know how long those been around. Area codes, also, how long have those been around? Those are just weird things that when does this happen? How did someone decide this? Who came up with the idea of thinking, oh, we need these area codes? There are so many phones out there. That was a crazy idea for it. Okay. Yeah, that's my city layout, city planning. Maybe I'll talk to a city planner, get them on here and ask them all these questions about how do you lay out a city. Okay. And another idea I had is in cars, so there's center console. How come in these cars I can't play Netflix on it? I connect my phone with the cord to plug it in where it charges, and I can pull my directions, my GPS on there. Why can't I just pull up an episode of Netflix? Why can't I just play YouTube on there? It's basically a computer screen. It's just a monitor and it's connected to my phone. Why am I being blocked from using apps on there that, yeah, I guess they're distracting, but it would make drives a lot easier. If I'm driving 12 hours in a day, I'd like to knock out a couple movies. I could go, oh, I've been wanting to watch this movie. Might as well watch it now. I have people on an airplane where they have like American Airlines has like the AA in flight. So you can watch movies on there that you typically wouldn't see if you travel another way. Why can't I watch Netflix while I drive? It's distracting. Okay. People are distracted with other things already. Oh man. Oh, last episode. In the last episode, there were a couple gulps on there. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to drink my water more quietly, but I don't know. Need it. Throat. Yeah, got used to this talking more. Um, yeah, why can't I watch Netflix on there? I might be distracted, okay, but I'm also distracted when I have YouTube going on my phone, but it's in the console down there, and I have to look and see, oh, what are they talking about? Talking about someone's outfit? Oh, I can't see it. Okay, now I see it. Yeah, that's distracting. Also distracted if I text and drive. Yeah, I guess that's distracting. Shouldn't do that. Don't do that. Illegal still. There's distracted other ways, distracted with other people in the car talking, distracted looking at the GPS, pulling the GPS up on the screen. Yeah, it's distracting where I was looking down at that some of the time and driving. So I can't just pull up Netflix. Because you can still understand a Netflix show without watching it all the time, a YouTube show without watching it all the time. Which a lot of things on YouTube, if it's a podcast, you're probably just listening to it on Spotify anyway. We like to see the podcasts because even seeing them in person, there's something to it that's added by watching it. So why can't I have that? Because some of the screens, like I discussed in I think it was episode 4. Yeah, I'm going to start referencing back. So if you haven't listened to all the episodes, go back, listen to them. Worth the listen. Yep. Give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe on there. Yeah, keep that up. Tesla screens, when I rode in that one, that is bigger than a computer monitor. It's the size of a small TV. Is similar to the size of the Michael Scott TV, where he installs his plasma. He stands next to me. He goes, "Sometimes I stand here all day and watch it." The Tesla. monitor, computer screen. It's the same size as TV. And then the people in the back, they could also enjoy it. Because growing up when we had a minivan, I am excited to get a minivan again at some point. I don't know when it'll be. My wife is not excited about it. She does not want a minivan at all. She wants, I don't even know what kind of car she wants. I think she just wants an SUV. I don't know if she said she wanted a Suburban, but she wants like some longer vehicle like that. I'm like, no, if we're having a bigger car, going to be carrying a lot of people around, we're getting a minivan. That's what's happening. Because I don't know, I grew up with one. I liked it. But one of the best parts of it was the TV that was in the back. We would take these road trips, which I don't know, not even road trips, but it would just be like driving, not really driving around the city because that's too short, and my parents wouldn't want to have to mess with the VHS player because it was a VHS player and it was connected to a tiny screen in the back, which I don't know if minivans today still have that. I don't know if they would because everyone just has their iPad, so I don't know if they need the TV screens in there. But yeah, that technology, we would just drive around and everyone in the back, even the people up front, which I don't know, distracting to them, but no one was stopping that. Everyone in the back would be watching the same show. Everyone would know what was going on at different parts of it. It was just, I don't know, great to watch that together. There weren't distractions of it. People weren't able to get up, go to the bathroom. Everyone was just there in the moment. So why can't smaller cars have that? Oh, I'll go back to the minivan. Minivan, sometimes there were headphones, so if my parents didn't want to listen to it, they would give the people in back headphones so they could listen to it. Best, I don't know, video to watch the most. There was a Scooby-Doo one. I forget, but I'll have to look that one up. It's like, but it was some Scooby-Doo movie. But I watched that one a lot. The other one, watched a lot, the Rugrats in Paris movie. I like that one more than it's the Rugrats movie. Yeah, watched that one a lot on the orange VHS. We would watch that one a lot. Little Rascals. Sometimes watch that one. That one not as much. Yeah, definitely the Scooby Doo and the Rugrats in Paris one. And oh, now I'm starting to remember things. The different one was the Cowboys of Moo Mesa. I need to find. I don't know. Need. But I want to find that stuff. Cowboys of Moo Mesa. That one. I don't know if that was a popular thing, if other people watched it, but it was. It was good. I really liked it. I don't know what happened to it. I never had like any shirts of it. I didn't see it on TV. It was just these VHS videos we had. And yeah, I gotta find out the Cowboys of Moo Mesa. Maybe probably on eBay. If it's on eBay, like it's VHS, I can't play that. I was able to get this Star Wars Battlefront 2 because that was on Xbox and Xbox 360 can play that. But getting a VHS thing, I'm not going to be able to play that on a DVD player on my Xbox. I'll have to get a VHS player, which I don't know what that'll be. Like I always open Mesa. I don't know if anyone has them or if they would still work. My mom threw away all the VHS tapes that we had. Like there's some Disney ones, which yeah, the basic Disney ones, and as our VHS players. And I just came home one day. I don't know if I was in college or high school. My mom just said, "Oh, I threw all of them away," without even asking anyone else. Like, "Oh, do you want any of these memories of videos you watched in your childhood?" No? Okay, throw them away. Yeah, we watched that. So having the video screen in the being able to be played on the screen, bring everyone together, not just reserved for the minivan people anymore. The minivans, excited to get it. I don't know which one we're going to get. I don't know how many kids we would have to get it. If we just have one kid, hard to justify a minivan. Two, maybe it's slightly easier. Three, definitely. You can't just have a full-size car. If you have three kids, that's five people. That'd be full the entire time. No, you got to upgrade after that. So I'll convince her of getting a minivan then. Um, let's see what other ones we have going on. If you have Netflix, you can just hang out with each other. Let me see. Do I have anything going on here that I want to do? Anything I mean? T. Oh, yeah. And the TV's gone on planes. I wasn't old enough to have it, but some of the time there would be planes where I don't even know what year it was, years ago, before I was on a plane. When was the first time I was on a plane? I think the first time I was on a plane was when I was 14. I was on, was it 14? Yeah, because I think I was in eighth grade then. I don't remember. I think I was 14 in eighth grade, maybe 13. I went to Disney with Disney World with one of my aunts. First time I was on a plane. But people told me about how on planes they would just have one video for the entire cabin area to watch. Then they have the screens on the back of the headrest. But recently when I got on planes, I think they've gotten rid of those, at least on flights I've been on. Maybe there's some airlines that still have them that I don't fly as often. But I think they just got rid of those because all of their stuff they have on their in-flight services and you just watch it on your phone anyway. They're like, oh, everyone has a phone. They can just watch on there. We don't need to put any screens up on the back of TVs. I think the only one I can think of is Delta. I think Delta might still have the screens, but I know like American doesn't, and like all the budget ones don't, like Frontier, Spirit, all of those, which I don't know, sometimes I fly those more. Yeah, that's basically what I've been thinking of. Oh, got some other ideas, but I won't go into those now for it. I think Ashley and I gotta go into our tax meeting for the year. We're having some outside help with it this year, so we're about to go through all that, which, man, this podcast keeps getting the big topics of taxes, which, yeah, it happens. But hey, it's part of what I'm doing. But being in Texas, no income tax. That's why everyone's moving here. I think I might need to record podcasts just a week in advance because I kind of forget what I've talked about. And I say, oh, on the last podcast, I was like, oh, that was 3 weeks ago. I'm saying it was the last podcast because I just had to listen and edit to it. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll hold this one for a couple weeks because I don't want to delete the old episodes. I don't want to delete the episode 5 and just release this one because it shows the progression. In case I do reference things, I don't want to forget that. Yeah, those are my thoughts. That's what's happening this week in my life. Trying to figure out how city planning works. Trying to figure out how I can get Netflix while driving. Because if I'm driving 12 hours, why can't I just throw a couple of Netflix things on there? I'm on the interstate 8 anyway. I'm using the System 1 part of my brain if no one's out there, which I'll talk about that later, another episode. That's the book I'm reading now, Thinking Fast and Slow. It's okay. They talk about two different ways of thinking. System 1's kind of like automatic, free flowing, doesn't take any effort. System 2 is more deliberate, critical thinking, but I don't know if there's conflict between them, but you can be tricked into using like System 1 for System 2 and driving on a open road is System 1. So I'll just throw in some difficulty and put a Netflix movie on there. See how that's going. Okay. And I'll see if I got anything on Cowboys up with me. So, but thanks for listening to this podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, tweet out, comment. Let me know how I can make things better. Try and get more interaction. Now that I've got the recordings going, social media, starting to get into a better rhythm of that. Trying to figure out what hashtags to get more views on things. But I don't know, maybe I just won't put any and see who comes across it naturally and get the edits on that. Thankfully, I got this done before my wife came home because I told her about it, but still don't want her to see it happening, see how the recordings go, hear it before it comes out because then she might spoil it. She might go on a Reddit page. Oh man. Maybe she'll go on a Reddit page. I haven't made a Reddit page. I don't really know how Reddit works. Maybe that's how I get to go and just make a Reddit page. But, or maybe that just comes naturally. Once you get big enough, someone automatically makes it for you. But we'll see when that happens. But yeah, like, subscribe, reach out. Any way I can make this better, let me know. Hopefully the mic worked. If it didn't, it's going through the window. Yeah, Instagram, Twitter/X, PhD pod. Thanks. Bye.